answer this.
Well, hello and welcome everybody to the Geeknd Live. Your Thursday starts right here, wherever you are on this football we call planet Earth. My name is Jamie. Who the hell are you? Hi. Nice to see you, though, whoever you are. I can see 4 people are here in the chat, and they are Gaz Nottingham, Jane Flakes, Powdroy Girl, and Jones Capone. Hello to all of you, and if you are watching on the replay, aka in the future, hello to you as well. Leave us a comment. I eventually reply to most of them. This is, as always, an interactive Star Wars stream, a chat where we discuss the week's news, of which we're getting quite a bit now, or maybe not news as such, but at least things, anything to talk about, especially as the hype train for the Kenobi series moves up yet another gear. The stars of the series are now out and about promoting it. They were in Berlin, I saw yesterday. I mean, I wasn't there in Berlin stalking them or anything, but I noticed via social media, which is my preferred stalking platform, and also today in the UK, this very UK that I'm currently sat in, and they just a couple of hours ago, Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, and Ingrid Moses appeared on a national BBC TV show called The One Show. The Brits amongst us will know that show, I'm sure. I didn't watch it, but I've thankfully been saved from watching it by The One Show. The kind folks at The One Show sharing some clips on their Twitter feed. We'll look at one of those in a moment, but pretty surreal to see Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor doing Star Wars press again together all these years later, these decades later. Also, hello to Explaining Computers, who failed to join us last week. But he has redeemed himself and achieved yet another stamp on his loyalty card, the reward of which is still to be decided. Also, hello to David Milano. Always good to see you, my friend. And James Capone says, Chatterween for the Obi-Wan recaps, perhaps. It's better than what Chad Campbell suggested the other week. Can't even remember what that was now, but it's definitely better. It's in the running ahead of Chad's whatever that suggestion was. Hey, the Ahsoka series. Who's excited, Jane Flakes asks. Well, that's one of our stories for this week. You may have seen this, all right? This ain't an exclusive, but the Ahsoka series has officially gone into production. So this is from the Industrial Light and Magic Twitter account. I don't know where it's being shot. I know Andor is here in the UK, and there is a rumor that another Star Wars project is currently shooting here in the UK, or about to start shooting in the UK. I've got a feeling this might be The Volume out in Los Angeles. But that for sure is Dave Filoni's hat, right? Hanging off the Ahsoka branded chair there. Of course, a character close to his heart. And I believe he's writing the series, right? Already written the series, therefore. And I'm sure he will be directing some episodes as well. In fact, this picture probably confirms that he is directing episodes. We do know that Rosario Dawson will be reprising her role as Ahsoka, as we've seen her now in live action in both The Mandalorian and the book of Boba Fett. Hayden Christensen is apparently back as Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. But I thought that was officially confirmed, but he actually said in an interview, or kind of refused, not in a kind of diva-ish way, but he refused to confirm or deny it in an interview recently, which was basically confirming it, I suppose. And also, we know Vikings Ray Stevenson is on board, Birds of Prey's Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and also Ivana Sacco as well. So I'm sure now they're rolling. Jane Flakes will be getting lots more info on that series. And another update as well, kind of update on something that had also gone fairly quiet. And no, I'm not talking about Rian Johnson's trilogy, but something else. Another big screen Star Wars project that we haven't heard much about since it was announced. There's Taika Waititi's one, but I'm talking about Kevin Feige. So he hasn't spoken about it, but one of his colleagues has, Michael Waldron, who is a lead writer at Marvel, most recently Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He was the lead writer works with Feigie a lot, and looks like he is working on this Star Wars film a lot. And this is on movieweb.com. And there's a quote from a recent interview that Waldron gave to Variety. So here's a quote where he was basically asked about the Star Wars film, Kevin Feige's Star Wars film. And this is what he said about Kevin Feige's Star Wars film. His words in my voice. We're finally into it in earnest. I mean, I'm writing away. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying having the freedom on that to do something that's not necessarily a sequel or anything. It maybe has a little bit less of it just doesn't have a bunch of TV shows and movies that you're servicing on top of it, the way I did with Doctor Strange. So it's nice. It feels like a different exercise. So this does suggest that it's very much going to be a standalone film, which I think is probably something we were expecting anyway, as opposed to a sequel of any sort. But I don't think it's going to be what was previously known as a Star Wars story, where it slots into something or explains something that we're already familiar with, whether it be a character like Solo or a period of time like the Rebels getting hold of the Death Star plans for Rogue One. It sounds like this is going to be a lot more separated, and I welcome that, to be honest. And going back to the Rian Johnson trilogy, just one mention of his name, and I still lose subscribers, but I'm doing it. Rian Johnson. I feel like Bono at those U2 concerts where he would say, no, I'm not going to talk about Bono. But anyway, I feel like that's where Rian Johnson would be perfectly placed to have his own complete standalone period of time, blank canvas to play with. I think that would really suit him, but also Kevin Feige. So yeah, a few little details there about two projects, Ahsoka and Kevin Feige's Star Wars film. So I've got a few Kenobi things to talk about in a moment, but let me just pop back over to the chat. Actually, nothing's really happened in the chat. Apart from Power Girl saying, I think it's at the volume as they finished Mando 3 filming. Yeah, Mando 3 has wrapped, so that would make sense if it's at the volume. And perhaps that's the continuity as well, with the Mando verse being at the volume. Also, Jane Flake says Rian Johnson would get a great big hug from me. I like the guy and I enjoyed his sequel film. However, I am a Sith, so I am evil. Yeah, Siths don't give hugs, right? Pretty sure that's the case. All right, let me bring up something else. What else have I got here? All right, we're going to talk about Ewan McGregor in a moment, who's been talking about Kenobi. But first of all, we're going to talk about his character. All right, so let me just bring up another screen. Bear with me, people. It does tend to take a while. No, I don't need to bring up a screen for this one because I prepared some slides, didn't I? Hey, production values this week are sky high. All right, then. So there's a new Star Wars novel by Mike Chen called Brotherhood, which I won't read, and that's nothing personal against Mike Chen or the Star Wars franchise. I just don't really read books, to be honest, but I'm happy to read about others reading it. All right. And I've read that it's set shortly after the start of the Clone Wars, with Anakin Skywalker newly promoted to Jedi Knight. And this book reveals that Obi-Wan did know about Anakin's secret marriage to Padme after all. Okay. So here's some book for you via the nice slides I prepared. No, that's the wrong slide. You're going to get that one later. Here we go. All right. So here's some book for you. Anakin and Padme crossed paths in the Jedi's temple's corridors immediately after Anakin's knighting ceremony, and Padme was struck to see him without his Padawan braid. There was a moment of spontaneous affection, which they believed was unobserved, but they hadn't noticed Obi-Wan, who unwittingly viewed that moment of intimacy. The newlyweds were nowhere near as subtle and secretive as they had believed. There's more. Obi-Wan knew Anakin was indulging in a forbidden Jedi attachment and initially considered confronting his fellow Jedi Knight. He decided not to. However, because he remembered his own time as a Padawan and his own feelings for the Duchess Satine. Then he would have left the Jedi Order if she asked him to, but instead they parted ways, and he was never able to fully let go of the regret he felt for the life he could have had. Obi-Wan wanted Anakin to have the married life he never had, and so he resolved to remain silent. And then he chopped him in half, which is not from the book, but we all know what happened next. It is quite interesting that Obi-Wan decided to ignore this and even continued to overlook it as well, I presume, when Obi-Wan was on the Jedi Council himself. And it shows that there was more attachment for him. He was more attached to his old Padawan, his friend, than the Jedi ways, which he did seem pretty attached to. And yeah, there's a tragic irony to that when you think about what happened next. So I won't be reading that book, but I am always happy to hear about others' views, others' experiences, and little kind of canon tidbits like that. Again, nothing personal. I just ain't much of a book reader. All right, we're going to come on to the Kenobi series in a moment and what Ewan McGregor has been saying just in the last few moments on British television. But first of all, I will just pop back to the chat. Gaz Nottingham says, I am just happy, grateful that we are getting all of this new content, lots of projects in the pipe. Yeah, you know, the MCU's been spoiled. Like, it's pretty much been constant, hasn't it? Since the birth of Disney Plus, but I feel like Star Wars is really moving up the gears now. So yeah, we're heading into that place now where we'll have very little time between projects. No, I did not see the Batman behind the scenes video showing off how much larger the volume has gotten. Pretty rad stuff. So that's the volume. Did Batman shoot at? Batman doesn't shoot at Pinewood usually in the UK. I'm pretty sure it's the Warner Studios, right, where Harry Potter was made. So the volume's branching out because I believe they built or were going to build a volume at Pinewood for Andor. I'm not entirely sure that actually happened, but that was definitely mentioned in one of the behind the scenes, that featurette thing for Andor. But yeah, I guess other volumes are available. But no, I'll have to check that out. Thanks, David. And yes, please do read it for me. Oh, Gaz Nottingham already is reading it. Maybe not for me, for himself, but hey, brotherhood, baby, pass some knowledge on. So far, it is very good, and he's at chapter 12. Skywalker Green. I've been doing good, man. How are you? It's always good to see you. I've seen you in the comments a few times recently as well. Good to see you on the live chat. Jones Cabone, and then he chopped him in half. Well, he did. It's just a fact, Jones. David. I never know which one to quite call you. But been good talking to you this week as well. I dropped you an email just before coming live, and I'll be back in touch tomorrow. Gaz Nottingham says we got hints in the Clone Wars that Obi-Wan was aware of Anakin and Padme. It's nice to get more context as given by the book. Yeah, confirmation, right? Did I party hard for the 5th of May? Mexican 5th of May. No, I didn't. I didn't actually. I was here. I'm back in the UK now. I'm actually currently, as I think I bored people with last week, I'm currently at my mum's, who's having a big operation at the tender age of 74. So I'm playing, or about to play. It's actually been put back by a few weeks. Full-time carer. So yeah, this is the old. This is not Mexican background anymore. It's Jamie's mom background, kind of. It's not her room. Anyway. Yes, I did see Hayden's kind of Vader style jacket on the press junket they're on at the moment. Very cool. I'd wear it in real life too, you know. Right. Let's talk about this press junket because it's been pretty cool to see Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen together again. Obviously, we're going to see them together again on screen as Anakin / Darth and Obi-Wan. But seeing them just as themselves, you know, like it's 20 years ago again and more, hanging out is great. And if you're in the UK, you might have seen the One show just a few hours ago, and they were the guests. They were on the sofa, and I'm going to share a clip. I'm not into the One Show. It's not my cup of tea. But thankfully, they saved me from watching it by posting some clips on their Twitter feed. So there's a few there at BBC The One Show. So this is pretty cool. There have been some quotes from Ewan McGregor talking about his return as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And there have been some, print quotes, I guess. He has said a few things without saying very much at all. And this is one of those classic examples. Where an actor's on a show to talk about their own show that they can't actually talk about. But despite that, what Ewan said in this little short interview clip from The One Show, it's got me pretty excited. If I wasn't excited enough already, he somehow managed to get me even more so. Let's press play, and you can listen to Ewan instead of me. You're welcome.
Not a lot. I mean, we're trying to keep it like really under wraps, and I like that. We're trying to, give the fans the max experience when it drops in a couple of weeks. But I mean, it's no secret that Obi-Wan Kenobi is somewhat of a broken figure after the episode 3. It's 10 years later, and he's the Jedi Order has been all destroyed, and all his friends are either lost or in hiding, and so he's a sort of solitary, lonely, broken man, and that's where the story starts.
Well, this is so exciting. Obi-Wan Kenobi, well, it's back on our screens.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything new there that Ewan McGregor said. I don't think there's anything he said that we haven't had portrayed in any of the trailers yet, but just hearing him describe Obi-Wan in that way, a broken man, detached from the Jedi Order, his friends, he's lost his friends, Order in hiding, it's all stuff we know about, but hearing it from Ewan, has really got me excited for the possibilities of this series. Sure, there's going to be action. Sure, there's going to be some epic duel between himself and Vader. But the quieter moments of this series have so much potential. And I think the first episode, at least, is going to be quite moody, quite dark, quite reflective. And I think we're going to spend a lot of time with Obi-Wan in solitude in that first episode. I hope we do. Anyway, and let's do another clip. Why not? Here is Moses Ingram talking about her character.
Block, let's say, and for those in the know, they saw you there, your character, with a red lightsaber, so we know she's not good. Tell us what you can about your character.
That she's passionate and fearless, and she will cut anybody down that's in her way. And I think people will be able to identify with someone who shows up. I think Reva shows up. Yeah.
So Moses, you're the new kid on the Star Wars block, let's say.
By the way, this is why I never do reaction videos. If you watched me, why would you watch me instead of watching Moses there? But if you did, you'll see nothing inside, everything, but outside on the exterior, nothing. I don't know much about Moses Ingram. This is the first interview I've ever seen from her, but she comes across like she's got some good energy, and her character in the trailer so far, from what I've seen, pretty exciting. And one more clip from Hayden himself.
Hayden, we've seen you now, not fully, but we know that you are Darth Vader, the iconic Darth Vader. But Ewan, you can confirm he's pretty terrifying in the series, right?
It really is. He is, yes. I had a moment because I didn't, obviously, in the 3 films that we made, I didn't work with Darth Vader. So in this, the first scene that we did, we rehearsed it, and we rehearsed it, and Hayden didn't have the helmet on, whatever. And then in the scene, he comes up from behind me, and we were getting ready, and I'm getting my makeup done, and then we'd start the show action, and I start walking down, and then I turn around, there's Vader coming at me, and I swear, like I had this jolt of absolute fear, like real fear. No, I've never had that in acting before. I was like 7 years old again, going, the face, the helmet coming at you.
But that's amazing if you feel like that.
Yeah.
I mean, this
what
is
are we
going to be
feel like
hopefully something similar, I hope.
Yeah.
All right, so Hayden didn't actually speak there. I'm sure there is a clip where he has a little bit of a chat.
They came back just
Like,
maybe not. I think the reason why Hayden didn't talk, although I definitely did hear him say a few things in another clip somewhere, but I believe the reason why he hasn't said much in the clips I played you is because James Earl Jones wasn't available to dub his voiceover, because surely that's the way it's going to be in this series, right? But anyway, again, they're on a show to promote a show that they can't actually talk about, but we're still talking about that. But pretty cool to see the it's happening now. We are just a matter of weeks away. Astromus, hello mate. Hope you're doing good. Thank you for hitting that like button. And Power Droid Girl is off to watch the iPlayer after this, to watch the one show in full. All right. And also, Power Droid Girl adds that she's reading through the Star Wars comics that are free on Amazon Prime. And thank you, Skywalker Green. My mom's okay. Yeah, she's having a new knee basically, so it's not life-threatening or anything. It's life-giving. It's gonna give her much better quality of life. All right, then I prepared a few more slides, which I accidentally popped up earlier. Let's do one more, and this is sticking with Ewan McGregor now. Obviously, he's here now talking about the present, the future with Kenobi. But the past, his Star Wars past possibly haunted him for quite some time. And I feel like for a while, when I heard Ewan McGregor in interviews talking about Star Wars, there was always a tinge of negativity, a lot of which was attached to the blue screen and the green screen acting. He wasn't a fan of that. He made no secret of it. But I think he also didn't speak too highly of the quality of the films. I don't think he bashed them, trashed them either, but he didn't exactly come out flying the flag. However, like many fans, it seems like his opinion has changed and he is very much warmed to those movies. However, he comes to it from a slightly different perspective compared to us fans. And he was at a press conference in Berlin, and a young journalist asked him a question and mentioned how much she, I think, really loved the prequels, grew up with the prequels, and he gave quite a cool answer. So I'm going to read his words to you now in my voice. You were a kid when our films came out. We sort of made them for you, and it was an off experience to make those movies. When you step into this world, it's a big deal. It's scary. Those films were critically not liked very much. What we didn't hear at the time was people your age, your generation. Those people now really love our films, but it's taken us 15 years to hear that. It's really nice. It's changed my relationship with Star Wars. It's different because of that, I think. We really put our heart and soul into them, and they were difficult to make. There was so much green screen and blue screen because George was pushing into this new realm that he had designed, that he was responsible for. He wanted to max out that technology, but that meant for us that we were very much on blue screens and green screens, and it was hard work. To do that and be passionate about it, and then for the films to not be very well received, was really tough. So it's really lovely to have that new relationship with them now. I hadn't seen them since they came out. In preparation for this show, to watch them again was pretty cool. I liked them. Episode 3 was a really good movie. And this is cool because, it mirrors how a lot of fans feel, whether it's fans who maybe weren't particularly into the prequels that have warmed to them over the years, or it is the fact that the younger fans that were the kids when these movies came out, that these movies were made for, are now grown up and they're one of the most vocal voices in the Star Wars fandom, and possibly they're now hating on the sequel trilogy, who knows. But also, George Lucas did talk about this. Ahmed Best, Jar Jar Binks, has said on this channel a few times that when he got the flack after The Phantom Menace, George pulled him to one side. In fact, it was when Ahmed realized he'd had his role completely cut down for clones. George pulled him to one side and said, look, Ahmed, this is difficult now. This is going to be difficult now. But in 20 years, it will change. It will get better. The kids we're making these films for who love Jar Jar will be grown-ups. And they will appreciate these films, and you will hear from them. And that's what Ewan McGregor's getting now. Going back to George Lucas with Jar Jar doesn't really explain the fact that he essentially bottled it by cutting down Jar Jar's role and potentially that being a Sith. Probably not. But still, it's cool that George did foresee that there would be a warming towards this trilogy, much maligned trilogy, eventually. All right, guys, I'm going to pop over to the chat for the final time. Powerdroid Girl, in regards to Kenobi, I'm not expecting any dialogue for the first, say, 20 minutes of the first episode. It'll push for solitude. Yeah, I don't know if they'll manage 20 minutes of that, but I agree. There should be some extended, powerful, silent moments, especially in that opening episode. She's more machine, Van Mom. Yeah. I'll tell her you said that. Jane Blake says, as much as I love Star Wars, I cannot tune into that BBC show. I will end up vomiting out of my intestines. Yeah, I'm not into it either, Jane, but at least you get some little snippets on Twitter that shouldn't really leave you vomiting. But I say now, I've just played them. Did you stop watching this stream when I played those clips? Gaz says, I guess it was rough seeing his co-stars like Ahmed Best being targeted by the minority of fans. It's the same old thing. Most fans are happy and generally keep quiet. The toxic fans are the loudest. Yep. It's the same. It's not just with Star Wars, it's the same. Like, it's the same politically, medically, with vaccines and what have you. It's those who shout the loudest on the internet, and there is that platform now for shouting. It's the noisy minority, right? And because they're the ones who shout the loudest, it's quite easy to get into your head that, in fact, they're not the minority. They're actually the majority. Yeah. All right, guys. I think it's a quiet chat tonight. It's a quiet chat, but that's okay. That's okay. We have come up to 27 minutes. Chad Campbell's not here. So don't really need to keep to time because he hasn't bothered to show up himself. But we may as well wrap it up under the 30-minute mark to do Chad proud, even though he couldn't be bothered to show up himself. Now, a couple more things though before I do go. There's no stream next week. 2 reasons. One, it's my birthday and I'm going to go and have a social life. And secondly, I need a little bit of time. I'm really busy at the moment getting Lightspeed Tonight ready for next week, and also with other work. And I really need a bit of time to get ready for Kenobi, in terms of what I do with it, for it on this channel with Yiz. So yeah, I'm going to take next week off and then we'll be back, for Kenobi the week after. But let's just play this one more time for anyone who wasn't here last week. This is what you're really looking forward to. I know. I know. We have been hanging on your every word. That's the reason for the quietness in the chat. I like that reason. You can have an extra loyalty stamp. Also, Glenn the Geeky Hippie that is not here this week either. You might remember last week he mentioned his new channel, rebranding of that channel. I have linked to it in the video description for this live feed. So if you want to go and find it, Glenn, our friend who's just showing up, one mention of his channel, here he is. So yeah, Glenn did talk about his channel last week, and I wasn't prepared. So I didn't have the link ready, but it is in the description of this stream if you want to go and support our friend Glenn the Geeky Hippie, pun lord these days, of course. All right, everybody. Gaz Nottingham asks, will I be covering any of Star Wars Celebration? We'll see. I don't know. I need to think about the time difference and juggling other stuff. But yeah, definitely. I'm going to be... I have to start isolating soon with my mum because she has to do a COVID test before the operation. So yeah, if it fits into that period of time, then yeah, it will be quite easy for me to do because I'll be around, so I can be reactionary. But not a reaction video, so yeah, we'll see. But obviously, definitely Kenobi. All right, everybody. we'll talk. Not next week. Remember, not next week. But Lightspeed Tonight does return next week. All right. But no stream next week. No stream next week. But we will be back the week after, live and talking Kenobi. So thank you, everyone, for joining. We have managed to go over 30 minutes now. But hey, like I said, Chad's not here. Astromers, thank you very much, my friend. And yes, stay safe, everybody. Thank you for joining me, as always. And you know what we've got to do now? We've got to... That's right, Power Droid Girl. Start waving, everybody. Start waving. Keep waving. I'm pressing end broadcast. Then the awkward lag begins. You've got to keep waving. Yes, and also hit that